With the release of 3.0, Wuthering Waves hit us with a boatload of content over the holidays, and one of those shipments happened to be a whole ass new endgame, and dare I say, it's very nearly perfect, but with one very glaring problem right now. But in less than 2 years, Kuro has shipped and delivered 3 new and distinctive endgame modes, 4 if you count holograms. Wuthering Waves is a game that appealed to an audience of gacha players who desperately wanted the gameplay experience to be priority, and they delivered when it came to character kits. Each forte is so unique and allows a huge amount of gameplay variation between characters, and the intro and outro system has given rise to a special team building experience. Having amazing gameplay and characters means nothing if you don't have the training grounds for them to truly stretch their legs or spread their wings. That's why when Kuro releases a new endgame, it's a true sign they have a finger on the pulse for what players truly want. Doubled Pawn Matrix is the name of the newest edition, and can we be real for a moment? Whoever has the job of naming the localizations for these endgame modes needs a serious speaking to. Like, for real? Whimpering Wastes and now Doubled Pawn Matrix? Come on, I think we can do a little better, guys. The concept is pretty simple. Points are delivered based on damage dealt and the number of bosses killed within 2 minutes. In Stability Accords, there are 4 bosses that will appear in sequence with increasing difficulty. You can prepare 3 teams beforehand, and you will be using one after the other to face the bosses in sequence. You have 2 minutes with each team to deal as much damage as possible and kill as many as you can. You are able to go back and rerun each of your 3 teams individually, but you cannot change your teams unless you reset all of your progress and try again. You can only use every character once, but there are a couple of exceptions where you can use them twice, for example, Shorekeeper and Verena. The bosses do not have any significant viral infections, which are boss-specific buff mechanics. It's important to note you cannot swap your echoes or change weapons, so each character must be individually built. To get all of the Asteroid awards, you need a total of 10,000 points. Singularity expansion is the harder version of this endgame. This time you will get the same 4 set of bosses, but you will fight them in cycles that will increase with difficulty each time, so there is an infinite amount of bosses you can fight. Here you don't preset your teams beforehand. Instead, you will create your team one at a time and let them fight. So you will have an infinite amount of bosses, and you can use as many teams as you like. Again, you cannot switch weapons or echoes, so you must individually build your characters. There is, however, demo characters you can use if you already pulled for a character but haven't built them. The downside is these pre-mades are not well built at all. These bosses will have varying different viral infections. Some are added mechanics that allow them to do different attacks, others are buffs to the bosses that you can reduce by playing into that mechanic. For example, the Felian Berengal takes 20% less damage, but the more you toon break them, the more damage you deal. You can also summon Hoo Chiefs that deal follow-up attacks. To get all of the Astrite rewards, you need 21,000 total points and reach 5,000 points with 4 different teams. So, is it any good? Well, like the title suggests, I think it's very nearly perfect. The whole point of this game mode is to test your account's strength. It rewards both horizontal and vertical investments. This is the game mode you'll want to try that truly tests the limits of your character building. At its core, these gacha games are about character and account progression. You log in every day so you can farm more materials to upgrade your talents, your echoes. You farm asteroids so you can pull for more characters. So when you create an endgame mode that allows everyone from free to play to whales to test their limits of their account, in my view, you've created the ideal endgame type where everyone can equally experience difficulty. This game mode is supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be challenging. I only have one major complaint so far. I'm a believer that an experienced free-to-play should be able to access every Astrite reward tier, as they are the ones who need them the most. It should still be obviously a challenge, but even for someone like me that pulls for most characters and signatures, hitting 5k points across 4 teams is still quite difficult to do within 4 or 5 teams. I really do think they need to front load the Astrite rewards a little bit. Either make it so you only need 3 teams to hit 5,000 points, or change the balancing of how points are distributed to make it very slightly easier. It's also possible this just might be a consequence of the Philium Berengal to have some really bad buffs that make it quite hard to 5k on any team. Ideally, you'll want to hit your 4 5k teams in the first 4 bosses before they increase in difficulty. So what's wrong with the monkey buffs? If you toon break him 4 times, you'll be able to deal max damage to him. The issue is, there is no character or team setup that can toon break him quickly enough times to feel this effect. It's clearly a boss that heavily wants a certain character that isn't released yet. This makes it way tougher to get 5k points on this boss, even if you have built characters that sigs and play perfectly. I'm not totally against shield buffs on endgame modes like Tower of Adversity, because you can usually always work through it, but this one seemed a lot more stubborn, and I don't think having a boss that only one team can fully fight against properly is a good idea for this game mode in particular, because it's adding even more restrictions on your team building choices. Now you'll need 5 teams instead of 4 to get all the Astrite rewards because you couldn't hit 5k on the monkey, and you'll have to fight a harder R2 boss to do so. If you're hitting 5k on your other teams, it's likely you would be still fighting the monkey again, but it's just going to be more difficult. It makes this a real pain in the ass, and suddenly you're going to be wanting like 6 teams. A solution could be to include a buff for the boss that would allow for more toon buildup under a certain condition. Hello, this is Editor Cap from the future. It's so funny, I posted a tweet about me doing the endgame saying it's beating my ass so bad, and I said the monkey is the most annoying boss to get 5k points on, and someone replied, "Funnily, the monkey is what people are using to get the highest points on, specifically the R3 monkey." Bear in mind, I don't think most people are going to get to R3, but it's still funny. It has a debuff where it takes more damage after each instance of toon break damage. Sword characters do 4 instances of toon break damage. R3 monkey has a shit ton of HP, so you basically have an entire fight against a heavily debuffed guy, and scoring system is based on damage dealt. That's so hilarious that the reason why R1 and R2 monkey is bad when you're like lower is the reason why it's so great at R3, but at that point you're going to be having like quite a lot of teams, so like, man, that's so the irony is kind of crazy. A boss that gets like kind of like better to get points on as it gets harder, that's a wild concept. Obviously this person pointed out probably you can probably manage it better with weaker teams than the R1 bosses, which I agree. You're going to want to use your weaker teams like to start out with and use your better team as you go along, but it still means you have to have way more overall teams. It's just annoying. Just add a toon build up buff. Easy. But yeah, that's really it, I guess. Yeah, great. Apart from this, I actually think this game mode is perfect for what it's supposed to achieve, to test all your builds and characters to the absolute maximum. Let's talk about the common issues I've seen people have over this endgame. I've seen this sentiment around a fair bit, that it's too hard, so I don't like it. Guess what? Honestly, tough shit. This game mode is not easy. It's actually quite hard, but here's the thing. It being difficult does not make it bad. Are you going to complain about repeatedly dying to the first boss in Elden Ring because you refused to level beforehand?
Oh my fucking god, you fucking bitch! Garbage!
No, of course you wouldn't. You'd either keep trying until it worked or go and beef up your builds. Lack of ability, team building knowledge, or care to progress your characters is not a justifiable critique for this endgame mode. Here's another. Locking weapons and echoes is stupid and bad. We don't have this for other endgame modes, so why this one? And usually I would agree to sentiments like this. I understand it. Taking away from something that was cool from the player experience is always going to leave a bad taste in your mouth. I totally get it. But here's the thing. I believe locking weapons and echoes is precisely what makes this endgame different. Its whole purpose of it existing is to test your character progression, weapons and builds included. If you need to share echoes, then you haven't built your character well enough yet. I am way more sympathetic though to weapons being locked, because it's not like everyone has multiple Emerald of Genesises or Static Mist to make use of, because we know the 4-star weapon choices are pretty rough. And as we all know, weapons are a massive boost to character performance. There's a reason why they're a guaranteed pull. The game heavily incentivizes you to grab these when it makes sense. Not locking weapons would defeat the whole purpose of this endgame existing. As it currently stands, I don't believe it to be a make or break situation. You're not going to need SIGs on every single character you have in order to get all the airstrike rewards, and it should never be that way. Again, to get all the airstrike rewards, you need 4 teams total to be invested enough, and you absolutely don't need SIGs on everyone. This is an endgame mode that is able to provide a challenge to everyone, including whales. They are also competing against the timer. While they will get significantly further than a low spender or free to play, they'll also be facing increasingly harder bosses that will eventually test out the true max strength of their character and won't just be one-shotting everything. It's pretty hard to create an endgame mode that can cater to everyone, but this does an exceedingly good job at doing so. Again, if they just front load some of the airstrikes a bit, I see very little issue with this at all, and actually it's a pretty fun time, even if I do kind of suck. Overall, I really think this is a truly good endgame mode, and it might be my favorite so far. If you watched this video and you enjoyed it, slap a like and a subscribe. Maybe leave a comment down below if you think I've been horrendously wrong or horrendously horrific in any of my takes. I'd love to see. I'm live almost every single day around 1 p.m. UK time. Nice. Have a good day, everyone. I'll see you next time. Peace.
Twitch.tv/CaptainCabinetz, Captain Cabinetz.